I'm going to go through today some real-world examples of my rabbit, deer, and buffalo strategy so you can see how all of that works and what it really means, not just in theory, but in real life. I'm Greg White, this is Silver Fox Cards. Today I'm going to show you some real-world examples of my rabbit, deer, and buffalo strategy. Not just talking about the theory, but talking about how that applies in real life, show you some examples, and let's get to it. So I had learned this original strategy from a Native American man back when I was very young, in my teens, and the theory was that a rabbit feeds your family for a day, a deer feeds your family for a week, and a buffalo feeds the whole tribe for a month. So I've applied that in kind of all areas of my business life. I tried to look more at customers that were either medium or larger sizes instead of having a bunch of little clients. Because a bunch of little clients means you got a bunch of people talking in your ear, and if the economy goes bad, those little clients usually don't have resources to kind of carry you through and keep things going. So I try and ignore the rabbits. Now, I don't completely ignore them, and my example is I was at a card show and was down at one end of the card show and found a nice card and bought it, and I think I spent $50 for it. So it got down to the other end of the card show and was going through, and there was a gentleman that was going through and asking the dealers, "Do you have this card that I just bought?" And everybody was like, "No." And he's like, "Man, I'm looking all over, can't find them. And I turned to him, I said, "I've got one in my backpack, do you want to take a look at it?" And so he said, "Absolutely, I'm dying to have this card, I need it to fill a set," and blah blah blah. So went over to the corner, pulled it out, he looked at it, says, "I'll give you $75 for it." Boom, $25 profit, no cost, no engineering, it just happened. It fell in my lap. So when a rabbit falls in your lap, eat it, okay? Take that, take the profit, and move on. But again, I don't hunt for those. I've got talked about a guy that has 1 million cards in his basement, and he sells them on eBay for $2 or $3 a day, and he says he sells 30 or 40 or gets 30 or 40 orders a day. And I am like, man, the packaging and just the work involved with dealing with that many dollar profit cards, just to me, just kind of and I'm just too lazy to do that kind of work. So I want to work a little easier and a little smarter. So what I am trying to go after are, the deer and the buffalo are what I'm hunting the most. Again, if a rabbit falls in my lap, I'm going to take it. Now, there's another animal that we got to talk about, and that's the skunk. And the skunk stinks, okay? It really is. But skunks happen. They just cross your path, and you really can't avoid it. I had bought a binder on the marketplace from a gentleman, and actually it was a couple of binders, and went through those and found a couple of cards, and one of the cards was this rod Carew. Now, it was in great shape, it looked fabulous, and I thought, man, that's gonna grade out really nice. Sent it off, got it back, and it came back an 8. Well, you say, well, that's not bad grade-wise. Well, grade-wise, it's not bad, but price-wise, it's now an $11 card. So I had a dollar card raw in the binder, spent basically $30 by the time you put shipping and the grading expense and then shipping back to you cost. And so I've got, all of this tied up to end up with an $11 card. That's a skunk. Now, the bonus here is it's in my rod Carew is in my personal collection. So I can put it in there as an 8. It helps the average, grade of the cards that go in there. So not a total loss, but man, it stunk. Really wanted that 10 on it. Would have been worth, a big multiplier of what it was on the 8. I mean, it would have been a $200 or $300 card, so it would have been a nice deer, but because I missed a grade by a couple of spots or one spot, now it's a skunk. So you've really got to watch. When you send cards off to grade, we all kind of tend to grab what's the PSA 9, what's the PSA 10, and I think we all have a tendency to overgrade our own cards. So just be careful of that. You don't want to end up with skunks. Now, from that same binder, I pulled out this card, a Dave Parker rookie. Okay, again, in great shape, looked awesome, sent it in, and now it's come back to me, and it's a PSA 7. A little better. That card goes in the hundreds. So now we're looking at a deer. So I can send that card off. I've spent 30 bucks on it. Comes back. I'm selling it for 100, 110. I'm making 70 or 80 bucks on that. That's what I want to see on a regular and consistent basis. So even though it was not really what I thought would grade out at, and I'm learning on my grading, and obviously I've got a lot more to learn, but you want to have a range there, especially early on, that I can send a card in, and when I get it back, even if it grades a 7, and I mean optimally it'd be a 6, but if it's a 7 through a 10, I'm going to be in the deer money. Okay, that's what I would really like to find. And even if it's a 6, you break even, barely into rabbit territory. Okay, we want to avoid the skunks. We don't want to get a grade 8 and it worth $11. That's just, at that point, grading is a scam. If you're chasing those borderline cards, very, very hard to turn a profit, because again, we don't know who the graders are. We don't know how much time they're spending on. We don't know if, they're having a bad day and nobody's getting a good grade that day, or if, it's their birthday and everybody gets a good grade. So got to learn from that. Now, from that same binder that I bought off Marketplace, if you're been around vintage for any time at all, a 1980 Rickey Henderson is kind of a tiny bit of a mini grail card, okay? And it just has such a high upside on the 8, 9, 10 grades that from that card. So I sent the Rickey Henderson in, and lo and behold, it came back, it was an 8. So that card, took it to the card shop, made a deal with the guy to trade out, and got basically $325 worth of store credit back for that one card that then I could put into my PC. So that to me is a buffalo, right? Got over a $300 threshold, or right at the $300 threshold. Made a big impact on my collection. I was able to pick up, several cards for the PC, and now we're off and rolling. So that's in practice how the buffalo situation looks like. You're getting a card for either really cheap, and then you're able to flip it and make that kind of profit. But you almost always in this situation have to start with a raw card, or you're buying a collection. The bigger the animal that you're taking, the more preparation you have to do, the more tools you have to utilize, and you really have to get in there and grind. It's, your horse has to be fed, it's got to be watered, it's got to be ready to run. You got to have plenty of arrows, plenty of spears. Hunting the buffalo is a little more of a challenge. It's even helpful if you've got some buddies that are out there, on their horses riding with you, that they can direct deals towards you. So it's building that network and doing all of those kinds of things that help you find the buffalo. For the deer, a little bit more of a one-man operation. You build your tree stand, you kind of find your place. Maybe you do need 2 or 3 arrows instead of just one in case you miss that first shot. But that's my in practice buffalo, deer, rabbit, and occasionally a skunk strategies. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know where I can improve my system, and let me know your successes in the comments below. And again, punch that subscribe button, helps me out, and I'll produce more videos like this. Thanks again. I'm Greg White. This is Silver Fox Cards.